Hi, Hamish Conway here. This is TACOS Tuesday, episode 14, and coming to you live from Sydney. There's Sebastian, and we've just been at the Hyatt Regency for the Amazon Ads day, where we've been getting some of the updates on what's going on in Australia and talking to some clients as well. And I'm about to take a little bit of a break, and so the only window we've got is now as we catch an Uber to the airport. So challenging Seb to unleash his expertise, and we're going to be looking at what Amazon's putting in front of sellers in terms of what they think their Christmas promotion should be, and our critique of that. So just waiting on the Uber, can't be too far away, and then we'll rip into it. And here we are, folks. So we're in the Uber on the way to drop Seb at the domestic terminal first, and then me at international. So we've got a deadline by the time we get Seb there, so we'll get after it. And so at the Amazon Ads event today, there's probably about 300 people there, I think, and it was a good chance always to catch up with various brands and hear what's working, what's not, and also hear from Amazon and some other speakers. A little bit jumpy here as well if you're watching this on YouTube. Never mind. So it's been a good day. And, a lot of these sort of events, they do tend to be covering off quite basic things in terms of the funnels, but they do always adding in new features that are coming through. And there's a bit of talk around the AI and the creative for your ads. And that's good. It's getting there. It's still not quite there, but it will continue to get better. And also there's other aspects with the full funnel components starting to happen in terms of Prime Video, Twitch, etc. But that, in reality, for Australia, that's not many brands that are really able to fund that sort of ad spend and have it make sense. But anyway, so I guess with that and funding campaigns, that makes sense. So coming into November tomorrow, well, as we record this, 31st of October, by the time you get this, it'll be Tuesday the 5th, and which is actually the date that Amazon is saying, right, you want to start ramping up your sponsored brands. So Seb in front of him on laptop's actually got an example of what's been shared. But let's talk through this, Seb. And what are you seeing Amazon saying we should be doing? What do you like, and what would you change?
Yeah, so at the moment, what we see in what Amazon's trying to do is, and with what they're sending out to their clients is basically a lead in, the event itself, and then a lead out. And what we mean by lead in is basically grabbing attention coming up into the event, then obviously maximizing your visibility through the event, and then on the way out of the event, basically trying to recapture some of those shoppers that you had, captured attention through that process. And so, those windows, their lead in for that time is a 2-week lead in that they've got. So basically they're saying ramp up your awareness type campaigns to get people aware of your brand, and aware of the deals that you're going to be running in that 2-week window before the Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which is, as Hamish said, will be basically when you're hearing this podcast. Then obviously maximizing your visibility. Now, the thing to note with the deals this year is that they're running for 2 weeks rather than one, which was what they did last year. And then also you're going to be running the spend on the way out with some remarketing or retargeting campaigns. So basically what you'll do is you'll target people that maybe didn't take advantage of your deal or didn't purchase your product. And so the bits that we like about it is that is a good strategy. Like, all of those things make a lot of sense. The part that we don't like about it is it's a little bit generic. That's not going to apply to all your products, for one. So you want to make sure that you're doing this to the products where you have the inventory to do that with, you have the margin to do that with. You also are making sure that you're doing it on products that are going to be, participating in those deals and things like that. Obviously, it doesn't make sense to drive visibility to products that won't be. The other thing that you'll want to consider here is your budget. Of course, if we've got endless budget, we would do all of that. My preference would be to have the lead in shorter. So instead of the 2 weeks, I don't think people are looking 2 weeks in advance before the event. I think, and I mean, in an ideal world, yes, you could spend that money in the 2 week, but if you're short on budget, you can shorten that time frame without much risk. So you could go with like a 3 or 4 days before the event, with those more brand awareness. People generally are not looking 2 weeks in advance. They're not willing to wait that long to sort of make their purchases. So that's kind of the good and the bad of Amazon's ad strategy that we've seen.
Yes, because it does start to stretch. Like you should be pumping ads all November and then all December. Okay, which is obviously in Amazon's best interest to do that. And look, if you can, great. Like there will be benefits from doing it, but that's not the case for everyone. So you're saying 2 or 3 days leading in.
Yeah,
that's it. That can be a good time of the year too. And by the way, this is not reducing what you're normally doing. So from a sponsored products point of view, you're not cutting back on anything leading in, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're not cutting back. What you're doing is you are running advertising to more awareness type campaigns. So for those who don't know that, that would be a ad type called sponsored brand, where you will be showing at top of search with maybe a collection of products that you're showing there. And the reason that that's powerful is it'll show your brand name, your logo, plus it will be showing the products that you're advertising. So people become very familiar with your brand. They may even save your products and add it to their cart to see like, I'm going to look to see if these guys are on sale when Black Friday comes around. So, and then the exit one, I'll touch on that quickly as well.
Yeah.
The exit one, when you retarget to people that haven't purchased from you before, in general, there's a reason they didn't purchase from you, and to remarket to them once you're out of deal, sometimes that's not a good idea, because if they didn't purchase when you were on discount and then the deal ends and then you retarget them when you're at full price, why would they convert when they didn't convert during that period? So, sometimes what you can do, this is a strategy that some brands do, which is they continue their discount or their deal after the event, because most of the competitors would have stopped, and then you remarket to those people, so you're the only one on deal while everyone else has gone back to full price, and so then that's where I think the retargeting once you're exiting makes way more sense than just retargeting because they didn't purchase the first time. There's got to be some reason for them to purchase the second time. It's the window's probably too close to just say, I'll just retarget them and expect that they'll make that purchase.
So that's if you're a third party seller and can change your price, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's a smart play, really. Again, it's just thinking what's all your competition doing, and can you zig while they zag? And that's a really smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
But again, if this is all on the assumption that you've got a product or products that are performing well, and they've got good reviews, and you got stock, deal ready, etc. Okay. Now, look, last week we actually covered off on a few other holiday season factors, and so as we look at this part here that Amazon sent through during the deal, what are they saying that you should be doing through that 2-week window? Are they saying going consistently hard through that? Because we say don't go hard through all of that. So do you want to share what you think the differences are there?
Yeah. So yes, they are saying that. And what happens is all those brands that everyone does the same thing. So everyone wants to be top of page and top of mind during that event. So everyone is bidding for those top search placements. What happens then is those placements become very expensive because everyone is bidding very aggressively. Amazon's telling everyone to do the same thing, and it is an auction. So obviously, as like any auction, it continues to just get higher and higher and higher in regards to those placements. And so we're a little bit different on that in 2 ways. One is we don't suggest bidding through that entire time frame. Most of the time, we know there's 2 buyer psychologies. There are the people that get in early, and then they're the latecomers. But basically, the people that get in early, you'll find that your first days of that deal period will be your best converting, your best performance, and things like that. And then you'll find that there'll be the people that are, kind of the fear of missing out, and they will be the ones at the end of that deal period. The in between those periods is where we find that actually a lot of spend goes to waste. And so we actually don't go hard through that whole period. We're very selective, and we go hard where we know it's going to make the biggest difference, which we think is in the first, we think it's the first 2 or 3 days. It does depend. This one's a little bit longer than normal, so it does throw a little bit of a spanner in the works. But the first 2 or 3 days will be the best, and then the last few days will be the best as well. And that's off a fair bit of data. That's not just us saying that we think that's the case.
Mm.
We've seen that happen now, like multiple times over the last 3 or 4 years. So it's the same kind of cycle. And then the other thing is, instead of just bidding for top of search, one thing you can do if you're like, look, I just can't afford to compete at that placement, is you can leverage the fact that lots of your competitors are going to be sending traffic to their own product page, and target their product pages, and you can get those placements much cheaper as a result. So they're two things that we do much differently than just blasting ads through that period.
And actually, to be clear, the period is slightly different to what we might have mentioned last time, because the dates are, what do we got there?
19th of November through to the 2nd of December is when they're running the actual Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotional period. So it's like 2 weeks long. And
Black Friday, Cyber Monday is at the end of that period as well. So like literally the last day is Cyber Monday. So it's going to be interesting, just because all the other Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals going on as well, whether it's JB Hi-Fi or just pick a site, they'll be, how big's their window going to be, will be interesting. So this is quite an early start, right? And I wonder, it'll be interesting to see what they do. This is in Australia that we're probably more talking predominantly about, but it'll be the same in the States. If consumers are going to be switched on early enough to actually, how those early deals are going to go, it may be in this instance that the latter part of it is either going to be where there's, that deadline pressure and people go, right, we've got to get in, or do you want to get in early, get them spending their money, so by the time it rolls around to Black Friday, they don't have any money left. But what do you think? I think
it'll still follow the same pattern it always has. It'll just be about the volume. If people are not aware of that first deal, there's some people that just are, and they know when the deals are, and they're super aware of when that's happening. So that second day will still spike. If it's not as big as what we expect, then I think the last days will be the big ones that you'll really find that uptick. But I still think it'll follow that same pattern. It'll just be how big are they compared to each other, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think people will be really in buying mode come Black Friday, Cyber Monday. They'll be in like let's purchase now.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it's like when the deal starts, you're halfway through November. But when the deal ends, you're into December. So once you hit December, you're definitely thinking about Christmas. So at that end period, you're going to be like, well, I need to get all my Christmas shopping done anyway. I'd rather just pay a discount.
Good. So in terms of just looking at what also has been sent through is these recommendations, there is a recommended budget there. And obviously this will depend on every brand, but even, what are they asking? Are they recommending more than what you'd think for this particular brand here? I mean, that you'd expect that they'd go in. By the way, the numbers are all very specific. Like, there's no round numbers. They're all ending in a 3 or a 4 or an 8, which is a very good tactic, because it looks like they've put some thought into it, which they may or may not have. But what do you think? Like, what's your gut feeling on that?
I think the budgets are right for this brand and for what they've sent through. In regards to the strategy they've put forward, do I think it's the right strategy? No. And so the budgets are probably going to get them, through that period without running out of budget. But is it going to get them the best return? No. And that kind of gets back to the point we just mentioned, which was we don't do it the way that most people do it. We do it the way that gets the best return for our customers.
Well, let's just touch on that then a little bit, like what, in getting the best return, where are you focusing for our clients?
Yeah, I mean, so some of it is what we've already spoken about, which is the days that we decide to focus on. We don't focus on those middle periods. Like we reduce our exposure through that period. We don't turn ads off, but we reduce it significantly. We want to save our ad spend for those big days of traffic where the traffic's the highest. And we also do a lot to understand our brand's margins so that we are pushing the products that make the most sense to do that. With some exceptions, if there's products that are in the launch phase and whatnot, margins are ignored a little bit more there because we are growing that product range. But in general, like, we're following where they're going to make the biggest bang for their buck.
Yeah. Nice. Excellent. Well, we're not too far away from the airport now. And I think if anyone is watching this on YouTube, we're going to have to edit it. Otherwise, you might get car sick. It's just jangling around.
So,
My
fat chin
like you
is
wouldn't,
jiggling.
wouldn't believe. Ah, dear. So look, it's it's a busy time for everyone now, and hopefully you've got a lot of your plans locked in. But there's still time to make those adjustments, and certainly listen back last week's episode with a lot of really good advice there, and that'll be great. And look, if you want to connect with Sell Global and with Seb, go to gosellglobal.com. Under services, find management for ads, and we've got some case studies there, the ads audit, what's involved in all of that, and you can book a time to talk with Seb, and that is what you should really be doing. Anyway, so thanks, Seb, and that was the Uber episode. Uber episode, and that's what you call efficient use of time. I like it. Anyway, well, safe travels back to Melbourne, and I'm back to Wellington, and then on the plane again tomorrow morning to Auckland. So it's all a bit racing around. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on TACOS Tuesday. All the best. Bye.